Brooklyn grit clung to Detective Jack Rourke like cheap cologne as he stared out from the precinct rooftop. 15 years on the force. 15 years of city stinking sirens. And tonight was supposed to be his last shift before heading home from this damn detail. But a knot twisted in his gut. A cop's sixth sense screaming wrong. Last night on watch. Huh? Rourke. Most guys would be cracking beers. Detective Marco Chan's voice cut through the wind. Someone's gotta keep the city breathing. Chan. Jack's eyes scanned the rooftops, hand drifting to his chest pocket. The worn photo of his daughter Emily and wife Karen. Karen's laugh, bright as a summer day, flashed in his mind. Back when he was a rookie, drowning his sorrows at O'Malley's after a bad bust, she'd walked in, a whirlwind of sunshine. One look and his world tilted. They talked all night. He missed his morning shift. Worth the chewing out he'd gotten from Thompson. Detective Rourke, Officer Ramirez, young, eager, held out a tablet. Dispatch says your wife's been blowing up the comm. Urgent. Jack's jaw tightened. The last few calls with Karen had been ice cold. Her smiles vanished, replaced by clipped words and shifty eyes. He'd blamed the distance, the strain of his long shift. But ice was melting in his veins now, turning to dread. Thanks, Ramirez. He walked into the comms room, buzzing with static. Before he could grab a headset, his burner phone screamed, restricted number. His heart hammered as he answered. Dad. Emily's voice, a bare whisper, cracked with terror. Help, Mom. There's this man, him and his friends. They're in our house. Slow down. What do you mean? In our house. Jack's voice stayed steady, steel wrapped around ice, but his free hand clenched into a fist. Everywhere. Drinking, smoking, making me clean up their mess. A choked sob. Dad. They're planning something bad. I heard them talking about you. When you come home, ambush. They said. Her voice broke. They said, they'll make me watch. Where's your mother? Karen. With him, Mom. She chose him. Dad. Betrayal. Raw and sharp. Sliced through. Jack. I tried to stop them. Told them you'd make them sorry. They just laughed. Glass shattered. Rough male voices yelling. Gotta go. They're coming. Please. Dad. Hurry. I'm scared. The line went dead. Jack stood frozen. The comms room fading into a blur. Rage. Not hot. Searing. But arctic. Freezing everything in its path. He moved through the precinct like a ghost. Boots pounding towards Captain Thompson's office. Thompson looked up from paperwork. His face shifting as he saw Jack's. Jesus. Rourke. What happened, Captain? Immediate discharge. Family emergency. Thompson leaned back, studying him. You're days from finishing your detail. What's so urgent? My daughter's in danger. My wife. The words tasted like poison. She's let criminals into our home. They're planning an ambush. Have you contacted NYPD? With all due respect. Captain, this is personal. I need to handle it myself. Rourke. Think. 15 years. Commendations. Master detective track. You throw it away now. Jack met his captain's gaze. A career means nothing if I don't have a family to come home to. I'm requesting immediate discharge. Your signature or not. I'm leaving tonight. Silence hung heavy. Thompson finally sighed, pulling a form from his desk. You're one of the best cops I've ever seen. Rourke. Don't make me regret this. He started filling out the paperwork. Whatever you're planning, remember your training. Cool head, clear mind. Yes, sir. And Rourke? Thompson looked up. Make those bastards pay. Hours blurred into a frenzy of paperwork and processing. Jack secured a seat on a late-night flight to LaGuardia, his mind already racing. As the plane roared down the runway, he pulled out Emily's photo, her laughing face, caught mid-twirl at her last birthday. His little girl. Fear clawed at him, the thought of her trapped, terrified. Karen's betrayal was a separate wound, to be dealt with later. Right now, his mission was crystal clear. Secure Emily. Eliminate the threat. He closed his eyes. Plans forming. Contingencies mapped. Angles of attack calculated. They thought they were setting a trap for him. They were about to learn what it meant to cage a predator. The flight attendants gave him a wide berth. They'd seen that look before, the 1,000-yard stare of a man walking into war. They were wrong. He was walking into a new one. The rental car idled, a low growl in the Brooklyn night. Jack watched his brownstone from 2 blocks away. It looked alien. Familiar skin stretched over a stranger's bones. Beer cans littered the stoop, once pristine. Cigarette smoke curled from open windows. The American flag he had always flown was gone, replaced by some trashy banner. 2 men slouched on his porch, passing a bottle. Their laughter loud, crude jokes slicing the night. Jack memorized their faces, their sloppy posture, the obvious bulges under their jackets. Concealed weapons, carried like amateurs. His phone buzzed. Ray Donovan, his old mentor from the NYPD, retired and out, but still plugged in. Ray's text, O'Malley's pub, back booth, now. 20 minutes later, Jack slid into the dimly lit booth at O'Malley's. Ray, hair grayer, eyes still sharp as steel, was already there. You look like hell, kid. Ray shoved a manila envelope across the table. Your wife's new pal is Vinny Costello, local dirtbag. Inherited daddy's dive bar, turned it into a drug den, minor league record. Assault, possession, nothing stuck. But his crew's getting bolder. Whispers of moving into distribution. Jack opened the envelope. Surveillance photos spilling out. Vinny Costello. Scarred knuckles. Snake tattoo snaking up his neck. Dead eyes. The kind of guy who enjoyed pain. How long? Jack's voice was flat. Ray hesitated. Affair. About a year, near as I can tell. Started showing up at Costello's bar while you were on detail. My guy got these shots 3 months ago. The photo showed Karen leaving a cheap motel with Costello, his hand clamped possessively on her lower back. She was smiling, that smile that used to be his. She's been draining your joint account, kid. Ray continued. 10 grand last month alone. Drug money, medical bills. Actually, her mother's got cancer. Stage 4. Experimental treatment. Insurance won't touch it. Ray sighed. Costello offered to help with the cost. Classic predator move. Find someone vulnerable, offer salvation with strings. Doesn't excuse bringing those animals into my home. Endangering Emily. Jack's voice could have frozen the East River. No, it doesn't. Ray pushed more photos across the table. Costello's crew. Bottom feeders. Washouts. They've turned your place into a frat house. But my sources say bigger things are brewing. Drug shipments. Maybe weapons. Names. Locations. It's all in there. Ray tapped the envelope. Listen, kid. These guys aren't soldiers. They're thugs with guns and bad attitudes. You go in hot, people get hurt. That's their choice. Jack stood, tucking the envelope inside his jacket. Thanks, Ray. I owe you. Ray's hand stopped him. Your father was my partner for 20 years. Best man I ever knew. When he died, I promised him I'd look out for you. Whatever you're planning, be smart, be thorough, and when it's done, make sure nothing leads back to you. Nothing will be left to find. Jack drove aimlessly, the pieces clicking into place. Karen's desperation, her mother's illness, Costello's predatory charm. He understood Karen's vulnerability, her fear, but the betrayal. It went deeper than the affair. She'd brought monsters into their home, exposed Emily to danger, violated everything they'd built. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. A video. His thumb hovered over the play button, dread tightening his chest. The clip showed Emily in their kitchen, forced to serve drinks to Costello's crew. One of them grabbed her arm, laughing as she flinched away. Timestamp. 3 hours ago. The phone cracked in Jack's grip. He pulled over, forehead pressed against the steering wheel, letting the rage wash over him. When he lifted his head, his eyes were clear, cold. Investigation was over. Time for action. He needed intel, surveillance, resources. Time to call in favors. First call, Max Chen, tech wizard, ex-NYPD comms, now private security consultant. I need eyes and ears. Max, Jack said when Max answered. Full coverage. Remote access. You calling in that Kandahar favor? Max's voice was serious. Must be important. Life or death. A pause. Send me the address. Give me 24 hours. Jack checked into a cheap motel. Cash only. He spread Ray's intel across the bed. Costello's file. Surveillance photos. Creating a timeline of Karen's betrayal. Costello's manipulation. The pattern was sickeningly clear. Costello had targeted her, preying on her desperation, her vulnerability. The financial records showed escalating withdrawal, coinciding with her mother's declining health. A knock on the door. Hand instinctively went to the Glock holstered at his back. Max. 3 quick taps. Pause. Too slow. Max hadn't changed. Rail thin. Perpetually messy hair. Caffeine-stained teeth. He carried a heavy duffel bag and a laptop case. You look like shit. Max's greeting. When's the last time you slept? Sleep when we're dead. Jack gestured to the bag. What you got? Max unzipped the bag, revealing an arsenal of surveillance gear. Latest gen thermal cams, directional mics, signal interceptors, military grade. Very illegal. Don't ask where I got them. Can you get them installed without being seen? Already done. Drove by an hour ago in a Con Ed truck. Cameras are up. Pinhole lenses. Penetrating exterior walls. Feeds are live. Max opened his laptop. Multiple video windows flickering to life. Your house is hot. Jack, counting at least 8 hostiles. Multiple weapons. Not pros, but dangerous. Jack watched the screens, mapping positions, patterns. Karen moved through the house like a ghost, head down, shoulders slumped. In the kitchen, Emily washed dishes while one of Costello's men leered at her. Audio's coming through. Max adjusted settings. Wanna hear? Jack nodded. Voices filled the room, slurred, crude with alcohol. Costello holding court in the living room, bragging. Stupid bitch. Thinks we're helping with her mom's treatment. Costello laughed. By the time Soldier Boy gets home, we'll own this place. Perfect distribution point. Nice, quiet neighborhood. Nobody suspects. And if he causes trouble, Costello patted the gun at his hip. We'll make his little girl watch what happens to heroes. The laptop screen cracked under Jack's grip. Max carefully packed his equipment. I know that look, Max said quietly. What's the plan? I'm going to kill them all. No, you're not. Max held up a hand as Jack turned. You're going to destroy them. Death's too quick. You're going to take everything they have, everything they are, and leave them broken. That's what they deserve. Jack was silent, rage battling cold calculation. You're right. Smart. Clinical. Make them suffer. That's the Jack I know. Jack nodded. The surveillance is a gift. What else you need? Equipment. Weapons. Burner phones. And I need you to monitor the feeds. Coordinate my movements when I go in. Consider it done. Max started packing. One more thing. Had my guy run background on Costello's crew. Most are nobodies, but 2 have connections to bigger players downtown. This could go deeper than you think. Doesn't matter how deep it goes. I'll dig them all out after Max left. Jack returned to his planning. Surveillance feeds showed him everything. Guard rotations, weapon stashes, vulnerabilities. Costello ran his operation like a joke. No security, no contingencies, just arrogant thugs thinking they were untouchable. Emily appeared on one of the feeds, sneaking into the hall closet. She pulled out a photo. Jack in his dress uniform, and hugged it to her chest. Please come home. Dad, she whispered. I know you'll make them pay. Jack touched the screen. I'm coming. Baby girl, and they're going to learn what real fear feels like. The next 3 days became a masterclass in observation. Jack, healed by Max's surveillance network, documented every depraved detail of the invasion of his home. Costello's crew treated the brownstone like their personal sewer. No respect for property. No shred of decency. Directional mics picked up their names, habits, weaknesses. Tony the Snake Thompson, Costello's right-hand man. Gambling addict, drowning in debt to the wrong people. Brinky fingers read, loudmouth coward, flinching at shadows. Each piece of intel, another weapon forged in Jack's arsenal. Check this. Jack. Max's voice crackled in his earpiece, monitoring from his remote station. Costello just got a call, major shipment coming in. They're planning to use your garage as a distribution hub. Jack watched through high-powered binoculars as Costello paced the porch, arguing on his phone. Audio enhanced. Costello's voice boomed. Don't care what the boss says. We're ready. Soldier Boy won't be a problem. Yeah, we got his kid under control. Wife, too. Stupid bitch thinks we're helping with her mother's medical bills. A harsh laugh. By the time she figures out we're pocketing most of it, it'll be too late. The binoculars creaked in Jack's grip. Not just an ambush, but stealing money meant for Karen's dying mother. The layers of betrayal, of cruelty, ran deeper than he'd imagined. Movement in the kitchen. Jack. Max reported. Emily's cleaning up their mess again. Wait, Costello's heading that way. Jack switched views. Costello swaggered into the kitchen, deliberately kicking over the trash Emily had just collected. Mocking laughter filled Jack's earpiece. Oops, better clean that up. Princess. Wouldn't want Daddy to come home to a mess. Costello reached for Emily's face. Maybe I'll keep you around after we deal with him. Could use a pretty little maid. Emily jerked away, her voice steady despite the fear. My father will make you regret this. All of you. Your father. Costello grabbed her arm. Hard. Your father's 1,000 miles away playing soldier. He's not here to protect you now. Jack's finger tightened on the binoculars. Every fiber of his being screamed to intervene, but he held back. Tactical thinking overriding raw rage. Strategic patience. Break-in surveillance. Jack? Max's voice crackled. 2 new vehicles pulling up. You're gonna want to see this. A black SUV and a Mercedes sedan purred into the driveway. 3 men in expensive suits emerge. Stark contrast to Costello's crew of thugs. Facial recognition running. Max muttered. Got hits. Big guy is Don Vinny, the suit Romano. Suspected ties to the outfit. Others are lawyers for Sterling Development Corporation. Development company. What's their angle with Costello? Jack whispered. Pulling up records. Sterling Development. Buying up properties in your neighborhood. Massive redevelopment project in the works. But they've hit snags with holdout homeowners. Costello persuades people to sell. Pieces slammed into place. Not just drugs. Real estate. Money laundering. Corruption reaching into the city's veins. Through surveillance, Jack watched the meeting unfold in his living room. Costello, playing host, pouring drinks in glasses Emily had been forced to clean. The waterfront project is a go, one of the lawyers announced. Once we secure the remaining properties, construction begins. The warehouse district will make perfect distribution points. Romano nodded approvingly. Costello, you've done good work here. Taking over this house gives us a perfect base of operations. Wife's signature on the deed transfer yet? I'm working on it. Costello grinned. She'll sign. Her mother's treatments are expensive, and we're her only hope of paying. And the husband? Romano asked. Costello chuckled. A cruel sound. Got a warm welcome planned for Soldier Boy. By the time we're done, there won't be anyone left to contest the sale. Karen entered the room, pale, drawn. The past year had hollowed her out. Vinny, she said softly. The hospital called. Mom's treatment, They said the payment didn't go through. Costello waved her away. Handle it later. Babe, we're in a meeting, but they said the last 3 payments were never received. They're talking about stopping treatment. I said later. Costello's hand shot out, grabbing her wrist. The threat in his grip was clear. Jack watched Karen's face crumble, the final wall of denial collapsing. She'd betrayed him. Yes, but she'd also been expertly played, a pawn in Costello's game. Jack, Max's voice cut through. Got the financial traces you asked for. Costello's been pocketing most of the money Karen withdrew for her mother's treatment. He's been giving the hospital just enough to keep them from cutting off care completely. Sterling Development connection confirmed. Shell companies galore. Hiding property acquisitions. Costello softens up targets. Forces sales through intimidation. Then Sterling Development swoops in. Looking legit. Gentrification through corruption. Classic. Jack processed the information. Betrayal spiraled into something far more sinister. These men weren't just invading his home. They were destroying lives, communities, using his family as pawns in their game. Max, I need everything you can get me on Sterling Development. Board members, financial records, connections to City Hall. Already on it. But Jack, this goes deep. Taking them down won't be simple. Nothing worth doing ever is. Jack lowered the binoculars, resolve hardening into diamond. Keep monitoring. I need to make a call. He dialed Ray Donovan's number, speaking quietly. Ray, I need a favor. Sterling Development Corporation. What do you know about them? A heavy pause. Bad people hiding behind good paperwork, buying up half the waterfront. Nobody can prove where their money comes from. Why? They connected to Costello. This is bigger than a home invasion. They're using my house as part of their operation. Jesus, kid. You're talking about some serious players. They got judges, politicians in their pockets. Then they should have picked a different house to invade. Jack's voice was arctic. I need you to be ready when this goes down. There's gonna be evidence. A lot of it. I need someone I trust to make sure it reaches the right people. You sure about this? These people don't play games. Neither do I. Hanging up, Jack returned to his post. Through Max's surveillance, he watched Costello's crew settle in for the night. Complacency, their fatal flaw. No security protocols, no contingency, just arrogant thugs who thought they were untouchable. Emily appeared on the feeds, quietly cleaning up the wreckage of the meeting. Head down, shoulders straight, scared, but unbroken. A survivor, like him. When she thought no one was watching, Emily slipped into the hall closet, her sanctuary. She pulled out Jack's photo again, touching his face through the glass. I knew you'd come. Dad, she whispered, they think you're just a cop, but I know what you really are. You're the monster that monsters fear. Jack touched his earpiece. Max, prep the equipment. Tonight, we start taking back what's ours. Going in now. Not yet. First, we make them understand what fear really feels like. They want to play predator. A cold smile touched Jack's lips. Let's show them what it means to be prey. Sunset bled across his violated home, marking the end of reconnaissance. Intel gathered, resources secured, targets identified. Costello and his crew thought they were baiting a trap for a returning cop. They were about to learn the difference between a cop and a warrior. Darkness fell. Jack began preparations. Weapons checked. Equipment tested. Approach angles memorized. Come morning, the predators would discover they'd caged themselves with something far more dangerous than they could ever imagine. Phase 1 complete. Enemy understood. Now for Phase 2, and there would be no mercy. The digital clock on Mac's surveillance rig flashed 2:13 a.m. as Jack launched his assault. Tactical gear swallowed the Brooklyn night as he moved through the shadows. The familiar weight of his combat knife, a ghost on his thigh, sharpened his focus. Camera feed loop active. Max's voice crackled in his earpiece. 3 minutes before system reset, Jack approached the brownstone from the rear, beer cans and cigarette butts crunching under his boots. 2 of Costello's goons dozed on lawn chairs by the back door, whiskey bottle between them. Amateurs. 5 tangos inside. Max reported. Costello and 2 others in the master bedroom. 1 in the guest room. 1 in the kitchen. Emily safe in her room. The door locked. Karen. Guest bedroom with target Costello's designated Charlie. Jack's jaw clenched. Pushed the image away. Mission focus. The guards never saw him. Precise strikes to the base of the skull. First one slumped. Second managed a half snore before joining him in darkness. Power cut in 3, 2, 1. Blackness swallowed the house. Confused voices echoed from upstairs. What the hell? Check the breaker. I ain't going down there. Heavy footsteps on the stairs. Kitchen guard heading for the basement. Jack intercepted him at the bottom step, hand clamped over his mouth, other hand finding the carotid artery. Guard slumped, silent. Hey, Joey, you find the breaker? Costello's voice. Closer now. Jack keyed his radio twice. Signal for Max to initiate Phase 2. House phone erupted, followed by cell phones throughout the building. What the hell is going on? Multiple voices, confusion morphing into fear. Jack ascended the stairs, each step measured, silent. Guest room guard emerged, pistol drawn, finger on the trigger, sloppy stance. Liability. Joey. That you? Jack's response was swift. Strike to the weapon hand. Pistol clattering, knee to the solar plexus, guard doubled over, elbow to the base of the skull. Conversation ended. Something's wrong. Costello's voice, right above. Everyone out. Now. Master bedroom door burst open. Costello's lieutenant stepped out, racking a shotgun. Jack could have dropped him. Waited. Let them bunch up. Check on the girl. Costello barked. She might be trying something. Ice water in Jack's veins. Not Emily. Not anymore. Lieutenant approached Emily's door, shotgun raised. Hey, princess. Daddy wanna. Jack struck, throwing knife buried in the lieutenant's gun hand. Shotgun clattered as the man screamed. Jack closed the distance in 2 steps, knee driving into the lieutenant's gut. Head slamming into the wall, body slumped. What the fuck? Costello appeared. Doorway. Pistol shaking in his hand. Eyes widened. Recognition dawning. Rourke. No, you ain't. Jack didn't let him finish. Flashbang through the doorway. Costello and guards staggered, blinded, deafened. Jack followed the explosion into the room. Guard recovered first, swinging wildly with the knife. Jack caught the arm, twisted, dislocated shoulder in one fluid motion. Scream cut short as Jack's fist smashed into his throat. Costello managed to hold onto his pistol, fired twice, shots wide in the blackness. Jack closed the distance. Weapon ripped away. Costello threw a clumsy punch. Jack caught it, snapped 2 fingers, elbow driving into Costello's temple. Please, Costello slurred, hitting the ground. We can deal. Jack's boot slammed into his jaw. Negotiation over. Zip ties secured Costello's hand, ignoring whimpers from broken fingers. Mom, Emily's voice. From her room. Dad, stay inside. Sweetheart. Jack's voice, steady despite the rage. Just a few minutes more. All targets down. He reported to Max. Begin phase 3. Jack dragged Costello's unconscious body to the living room, secured him to a heavy chair. Other guards, zip-tied back to back, left in their own filth, found Karen huddled in the guest room, eyes wide, fear and something else. Recognition. Jack, she whispered. I can explain later. His tone final. Stay here until I clear the house. Room by room, Jack swept his violated home, securing weapons, gathering burner phones. Max's voice guided him to hidden cameras Costello's crew had installed. Each one documented evidence. When satisfied, Jack returned to Emily's door. It's safe now. Baby, you can come out. Door opened slowly. Emily stood there. Pajamas, tears streaming. Dad? She launched herself into his arm. Jack held her tight, feeling her small body tremble. I got you. They'll never touch you again. I knew you'd come, she whispered. Told them you would. They just laughed. They're not laughing now. Jack stroked her hair. Go pack a bag. Okay. You're staying with Aunt Sarah tonight. No arguments. What's coming next? You don't need to see. Emily studied his face. Nodded. She'd seen enough. Some things a daughter shouldn't witness, even in the name of justice. Jack waited till Emily packed, then returned to the living room. Costello was stirring, blood trickling from his split lip. Max, start recording. Jack commanded. Time for Mr. Costello and I to have a little chat about consequences. Blood dripped from Costello's nose, staining his expensive shirt as he blinked awake. Eyes darted, taking in his bound crew, the dark figure looming over him. You know, Jack's voice, conversational, almost friendly. In Afghanistan, I learned a lot about interrogation, not the NYPD handbook stuff. The kind that leaves marks. Tactical knife flashed, catching the dim light. Costello's eyes locked on the blade. Listen, man, this is all a misunderstanding. Knife slashed. Thin red line across Costello's forearm. Not deep, but enough to sting, enough to promise worse. Wrong answer. Jack pulled up a chair, face to face with Karen's lover. Let's try again. Everything you did to my daughter, everything you planned for my house, every lie you told. Start talking. You're insane. I'll have you arrested. Another slash, parallel to the first. Costello hissed. That's 2 wrong answers. Want to try for 3? Okay. Costello slumped, bonds straining. It started simple. Easy score. Rich cop wife. Husband deployed. Vulnerable Mark. Didn't know about the kid at first. Keep going. Your wife, Karen, she was at my bar one night, crying about her mother's cancer bills. I played the sympathetic ear, offered to help with payments. A bitter laugh. She was so grateful, so desperate. Easy. Jack's knuckles whitened around the knife handle. The house, that came later. We needed a distribution point. Nice neighborhood. Cops wouldn't look twice. Your place was perfect. Good location. Respected owner. Overseas. Who'd suspect? My daughter. Knife pressed against Costello's throat. What were your plans for her? Fear flared in Costello's eyes. Nothing. I swear. Cleaning. Cooking. That was just to keep her in line. Show her who's boss. We weren't gonna... Knife bit deeper. Bead of blood welled. You're lying. Jack's voice dropped to a whisper. Max, play the surveillance tape. Costello's own voice filled the room. Maybe I'll keep you around after we deal with him. Could use a pretty little maid. Color drained from Costello's face. That was just talk. Didn't mean... Knife slashed again. Deeper. Costello screamed. Wrong answer. Footsteps on the stairs. Karen. Drawn by Costello's cries. She froze in the doorway, scene unfolding before her. Vinny, Costello called. Desperate. Tell him it wasn't like that. Jack turned to Karen. Voice arctic. Yes, Karen. Tell me, what was it like? She wrapped her arms around herself, shrinking under his gaze. I didn't know. Jack. About the drugs. About Emily? He said he was helping with Mom's treatment, and you believed him. Contempt dripped from each word. You let this piece of filth into our home, around our daughter, because he promised to pay some bills. He was blackmailing me. Tears streamed down her face. Said he'd tell Mom's doctors to stop treatment if I didn't cooperate. I was scared. Shut up. Costello snarled. You stupid bitch. Jack's fist exploded into Costello's jaw, snapping his head back. You don't speak to her. Not anymore. He turned back to Karen. How much? The treatments. How much did he actually pay? Fresh tears. Understanding dawned. The hospital called yesterday. Said they haven't received a payment in 3 months. Mom's being moved to hospice next week. Jack nodded, pieces clicking into place. Big withdrawals, thousands of dollars. Cancer treatments, all pocketed by Costello while Karen's mother withered. Please. Costello whimpered. I can get you the money, all of it. Just let me. Money. Jack grabbed Costello's hair, forcing him to look at Karen. Look at her. Look at what you did to her. To my family. You think this is about money? I'm sorry. I'll disappear. Never come back. No. Jack released him with a shove. You don't get to run. You don't get to hide. You're going to face everything you've done. Starting now. He pulled out his phone, dialed Ray's number. Ray, it's time. Bring them in. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder. Costello's eyes widened, panic blossoming. What? What are you doing? They'll kill me. You don't understand. There are people I understand perfectly. Jack leaned close, voice deadly quiet. You're going to talk? Because if you don't, if you leave out one single detail, I'll find you. In prison. And what I did tonight will seem like a massage compared to what happens then. Red and blue lights flashed through the windows as NYPD cruisers surrounded the house. Costello slumped, defeat crushing him. Choices narrowed to prison or a slow, agonizing death. Jack straightened as Ray Donovan entered, followed by uniformed officers. Detective Donovan. Jack nodded. These men have some interesting stories to tell. I bet they do. Ray surveyed the scene. Bound men, evidence laid out. Costello's bloodied face. He raised an eyebrow at Jack. They resisted arrest, Jack said flatly. Ray nodded, understanding. Multiple times, I'm sure. He turned to his officers, processed the scene. Everything by the book. As police swarmed, Jack moved to Karen. Still frozen, Emily's packing. She's staying with Sarah tonight until this is sorted. Jack, don't. He cut her off. We'll discuss this later. Right now. I need you to make a statement. Tell them everything Costello did, everything he promised, everything he threatened. Leave nothing out. She nodded, tears still falling. What about Mom? I'll handle the hospital bills. Jack's eyes bored into hers. But Karen, after this is done, after Costello's dealt with, we're going to have a very long talk about trust and consequences. As NYPD processed Costello and his crew, Jack pulled Ray aside. There's more, isn't there? Always is. Ray sighed. What are we looking at? Costello was working for someone bigger. This wasn't just about drugs and petty crime. Check his phone. Look for connections to Sterling Development Corporation. Ray's eyebrows shot up. The real estate company, they're backed by some serious players. Exactly. Costello was their muscle, strong-arming homeowners to sell. My house was supposed to be their new distribution hub. Jack handed over a USB drive. Max pulled their comms records. It goes deep. Ray, politicians, judges, dirty cops. Jesus, kid. Ray pocketed the drive. This could blow up the whole city. That's the plan. Commotion from the living room. Costello was talking. Words tumbling out, desperate to save himself. Higher ups. They'll kill me if I talk. You don't understand. They've got judges in their pocket, cops on payroll. Keep talking. Ray's recorder captured every word. Names, dates, details. As Costello spilled his guts, Jack moved through the house, surveying the damage. Empty bottles, cigarette burns, drug stash, and Emily's stuffed animals. His phone buzzed. Max got into Costello's cloud storage. You need to see this. Files painted a grim picture. Sterling Development. Systematically targeting brownstones, using Costello and other thugs to intimidate residents into selling cheap. Resistance met with escalating pressure. Vandalism, threats, staged raids based on anonymous tips. Costello, sloppy, kept records of everything. Payoffs, blackmail, cop contacts, criminal insurance policy, no evidence. Jack returned to the living room as Ray's men led Costello towards a cruiser. Time for the final touch. Jack's voice stopped them. One last thing. Before anyone reacted, Jack's fist slammed into Costello's gut. He doubled over, knee to the face. Costello sprawling. Assault. Costello spat blood. You all saw it. Officers looked at Ray, suddenly fascinated by his notebook. Saw what? Looks like you tripped. Costello. Must be those broken fingers affecting your balance. Costello glared at Jack as he was hauled up. This isn't over. You're right. Jack's voice, emotionless, because you're going to make a full confession. Every crime, every accomplice, every dirty deal. If you leave anything out, if you try to protect anyone. He leaned close, whispering, I'll come for you in prison, and what I did tonight will seem like a massage. Fear replaced defiance. Costello knew. They all knew. Jack wasn't making threats. He was stating facts. As cruisers pulled away, Ray approached. We'll need your official statement tomorrow. Need to get Emily settled first, and the rest of Costello's crew. Ray gestured to the bound men. Jack's smile turned predatory. Oh, I have special plans for them. A lesson in humiliation they won't forget. The next hour blurred. Police photos, statements, damage assessment. Jack watched, memorizing faces, noting which officers lingered too long over Costello's files. Finally, only Ray remained. You sure about this next part? They violated my home. Ray, Jack replied, terrorized my daughter. Now they learn what humiliation feels like. He turned to Costello's remaining crew, groaning on the floor. Max entered, carrying a large duffel bag. Gentlemen, Jack addressed the thugs. You thought it was funny making my daughter serve you. Clean up your mess. Let's see how you like it. Electric clippers buzzed to life. Harsh sound filled the room as Jack approached the first man. No, man, come on, Thug pleaded as Jack grabbed his hair. Clippers sheared away carefully styled hair, leaving patchy scalps, wounded pride. Next, clothes. Cut away with tactical shears, leaving them in underwear. Max. The special outfits. Max pulled out bright pink cocktail dresses, deliberately too small. Thug's eyes widened in horror. You can't. I can. I will. And you're going to smile while doing it. Jack's voice promised pain for disobedience. Consider this your audition for your new career. Entertainment. One by one. They were squeezed into dresses, material straining against their bulk. Jack snapped photos. Faces clear. These go public if any of you cause trouble. He warned. Now, let's practice your dance routine. Next hour, he made them perform degrading poses, twirling, curtsying, singing off key. Ray recorded everything, masculine pride shattered with each humiliating display. Please, one sobbed. We're sorry. Sorry. Jack grabbed his chin. You watched my daughter cry, laughed at her fear, made her clean your filth. Sorry doesn't begin to cover it. He forced them to continue until exhaustion broke them. Makeup smeared with sweat and tears. Spirits crushed. Video goes to your associates. Jack informed them. Gun contacts. Street friends. Anyone thinks about retaliation, this goes viral. You'll never live it down. Costello watched from his restraints, forced to witness his crew's humiliation, his empire collapsing not just dismantled, but mocked out of existence. One last thing. Jack turned to Ray. The safe in the master bedroom. Time to see what other secrets Costello's been keeping. Ray followed him upstairs. Safe. Amateur work. Cracked easily. Inside. Leather-bound ledger. Names. Dates. Dollar amounts. Mother of God. Ray whispered, flipping pages. Half the city council. 3 judges. Police captains. Costello kept receipts. Jack noted. Smart criminal. Stupid man. This is bigger than we thought. Ray's voice grim. These people, they won't go down easy. No. Jack's face hardened. But they will go down. Costello was their sword. Now he'd be their executioner. By the time we're done, the whole corrupt system burns. He took the ledger, adding it to their evidence pile. Pieces in place. Costello singing. Crew broken. Paper trail leading to bigger fish. Take them in. He ordered Ray, keep Costello isolated. No visitors. No calls. Don't want anyone getting to him before he finishes his confession. As police led the cross-dressing thugs away, Jack surveyed his violated home. Phase 1 of revenge complete. Costello destroyed. Crew humiliated. Operation exposed. Just the beginning. Tomorrow, real war started. Evidence leaked. Corrupt officials turning on each other. House of cards collapsing. But that was tomorrow. Tonight, daughter to comfort. Wife to confront. Personal and professional intertwined, each demanding its own brand of justice. Max packed his gear. Pausing at the door, they'll try to bury this. You know, people with this much power to us and let them try. Jack's voice steel. They thought Costello was dangerous. They're about to learn what real danger feels like. He looked at the ledger. Names inside. Politicians, judges, dirty cops, all complicit, all about to learn about consequences. Night ending, war beginning. Costello had been the visible enemy. Now, time to root out the cancer, corruption that allowed him to flourish. Jack allowed a small, cold smile. They thought they were untouchable. These men in suits, pulling strings from shadows. Wrong. Like Costello, they'd learned some soldiers never stop fighting. Some warriors never lay down weapons. Some enemies should never have been made. Night deepened. Jack began phase 2, and there would be no mercy for those who had threatened his family.